For many people in the world, most people in the United States of America, and almost everyone in Texas knows the phrase, "Remember the Alamo." Well, in Texas, for every school child, running a close second is "Remember Goliad." Let me tell you why. In late February 1836, Mexican forces under General Santa Anna surrounded the Alamo in San Antonio, commanded by Colonel William Travis. Travis sent out many letters asking for fighters to come to his aid at the Alamo. One of those letters went to Colonel James Fannin, 90 miles away at Fort Defiance. Fort Defiance was the recently renamed Presidio La Bahia, located in Goliad, Texas. Fannin had been prepping to invade Matamoros, south of the Rio Grande. But Mexican forces came into Texas before Fannin could get underway. Fannin left for the Alamo February 26th. After only a few miles, though, his wagons broke down. The next day, Fannin gave up and returned to Goliad, never to try again. General Sam Houston told Fannin to head to Victoria to avoid the superior Mexican army and join his troops. Fannin hesitated 5 days, waiting for nearby fighters, while Mexican General Urrea's troops were rapidly approaching. Jose Urrea's troops arrived outside Goliad before Fannin retreated. On March 19th, Fannin finally snuck out of Goliad in a fog, carrying 9 cannons and 500 extra rifles. His progress was slow. Less than 10 miles away, Fannin rested his troops and oxen in an open field instead of some trees a few hundred yards away, as recommended by several of his other leaders. Mexican cavalry quickly surrounded Fannin. The rest of Urrea's troops arrived later, outnumbering Fannin at least 2-1. Let's go to the site of the battle.
At the Battle of Coleto, this is where Fannin's 400-some-odd troops were surrounded by General Urrea's troops, Mexican troops, and defeated here about a week or so, 10 days after the Battle of the Alamo. You see the marker there. Has some interesting exhibits there in the exhibit hall. This park was sort of pretty much created by the locals, and then eventually may have been modified or enhanced by the state. But this is the Fannin battlefield. Now, they came in through here. Sam Houston had told them to go back through to Victoria and try to escape the Mexican army that was coming in from the battlefield from around San Antonio. And unfortunately, they got surrounded right here. The spot that you see right there, the star, and that's a screw from a gin. That's the spot pretty well center of where the Texians, as they were calling themselves, were located. The Mexicans had them completely surrounded out here. At the time, it was pretty much a flat prairie with not a lot of vegetation. Cattle ranches around here now. You actually see cattle grazing next door. And they fought for over a day. Eventually, the Mexicans got their cannons into range, and the Texans couldn't properly fire their cannons after a day or so, so they surrendered. Well, as it turns out, Santa Anna, Generalissimo Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, was a dictator, and he issued an edict that he was very frustrated with the people who had come from America and settled in Texas and were resisting his rule, which basically had been a president and became a dictator. And he declared them all pirates, and he would treat them so. So when these men surrendered, they thought they would be treated as prisoners of war. But according to the edict issued by Santa Anna, he said that they should be executed. Well, they were marched about 10 miles in that general direction to Goliad, and there they were summarily executed. Very, very few of them managed to escape, but most of them were killed. So added to the battle cry of Remember the Alamo became Remember La Bahia, or Remember Goliad. And this was all part of the Texas battle for independence from Mexico. Travels with Phil at the Fannin battlegrounds, the Battle of Coleto, in the little town of Fannin, a little bit east of Goliad, Texas. You're looking at the grave of Colonel Fannin and about 400 of his men, or at least it's the memorial for it. Well, most people have heard about Remember the Alamo. This was a battle that took place about 3 weeks after the fall of the Alamo. And Fannin and his soldiers fought the Spanish off in in that direction, about 10-15 miles. On March the 19th through the 20th in 1836, they were defeated by some vastly superior numbers of Spanish. They were taken prisoners, and they were marched over here to the Presidio La Bahia. They're just to the right of the Arpad. Zoom in a little bit. Now that's was a fort. Eventually they built a church inside the fort for the soldiers, and it still works as a functioning Catholic church. Now, they were taken as prisoners of war. At least they thought they were being taken as prisoners of war. But General Santana, or Antonio Lopez de Santana, had the people marched out, soldiers marched out on March 27th, 1836.
Approximately 342 men were executed en masse. 40 of the wounded, including Fannin, were shot in the fort. The bodies were burned and left by the Mexican army. They were later buried here by Texans.
The wounded were killed here in the Presidio. The very last one shot and killed was Colonel Fannin. This is the statue dedicated to the Angel of Goliad, Francisca Alvarez. She was credited, according to this marker over here, that when she traveled through the area, she often traveled with Captain Telesforo Alvarez. She traveled with an army group under Jose de Correa, General, and she intervened many times. And according to this, it says that she saved the lives of many men, including Benjamin Hughes. Some of the doctors recall that she pleaded for their lives, helped sneak out some of the troops at night, and hid some of her men. She also provided tending wounds, taking messages, provisions, so that they were still there. And it says here that additional commemorations, such as a resolution from the Texas legislature in 2001, have helped confirm Dr. Bernard's assertion that her name deserves to be recorded in letters of gold among those angels who have helped from time to time, being commissioned by an overruling and beneficent power to relieve the sorrows and cheers the hearts of men, and cheer the hearts of men. There are lots of battle cries. Most people have heard "Remember the Alamo." Well, the other one, most Texans have heard about, or many Texans who at least have read Texas history, heard "Remember Goliad" or "Remember La Bahia." Well, this is the Goliad, and this is the La Bahia that they wanted you to remember. And that became a battle cry. This happened about 10 days, a week or two after the end of the Battle of the Alamo.
Some historians feel that Fannin did a very poor job in the operations he conducted around Goliad. He waited too long, he carried too much equipment, he traveled too slowly. Other folks feel that he was a brave man and an absolute hero. Leave your opinions in the discussion section down below. Thanks for watching. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please feel free to make comments below as long as the language is family friendly. And if you like this video, please click on the thumbs up button below. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the circle with my picture in it in the lower right hand corner of the video. The arrow is pointing at it now. And once you have subscribed, you can be notified of when I have a new video posted by clicking on the bell icon in the description field below the video. Thanks again for watching.